The number 2 trending ticker on Yahoo Finance right now, it's one that doesn't always make an appearance, Ethereum. Fresh optimism about the Securities and Exchange Commission approving spot Ethereum ETFs ahead of the first deadline later this week. And joining us now is Bitwise Asset Management CIO Matt Hougan. Matt, it's great to see you. You guys, of course, have an application in for an Ethereum ETF. You got your spot Bitcoin ETF approved along with the others earlier this year. So I know that you're also encouraged by some other developments in Washington, which we'll get to in a second. But I do want to ask about this first and what you guys are hearing and how close you think it might be.
Absolutely. It's great to be here, Julie. This has been a big change. I think last week, the betting markets on Polymarket had about a 10% odds of seeing a spot ETH approval. And now those odds are up above 80% by the end of the year. So the market is voting that this is likely. We're seeing that as issuers update their 19B4 applications. It's not a guarantee that we're going to get to approval, but it looks a lot more likely than it did last week. And you're seeing that reflected in the price and the fact that the ticker is trending there on Yahoo.
And Matt, you think about Gary Gensler and how, listen, Matt, he didn't want a spot Bitcoin ETF. There was a lawsuit. I mean, do you think there ultimately is going to have to be a lawsuit to see a spot Ethereum product?
I thought that might be the case, but it looks like common sense might prevail. We already have Bitcoin futures ETFs, and we got a spot Bitcoin ETF. We have Ethereum futures ETFs, and now the market is pricing in the likelihood that we'll get a spot Ethereum ETF. And I think the important thing to remember is look at what the Bitcoin ETF accomplished. It dramatically lowered costs. It made it safer and more regulated to access Bitcoin. Those are wins for investors. I thought we might need a lawsuit, but I do think common sense is going to win out here. And I think that will be great if it does.
What changed, Matt? I mean, there's been some reporting here that the Securities and Exchange Commission has now sent out requests for comments or follow-up requests to some of the firms. Have you guys gotten a follow-up request from the SEC? And why do you think that they did this all of a sudden? I mean, it seems, as you said, what's reflected in the markets, pricing this in, it's changed pretty quickly.
Yeah, obviously I can't speak to our specific filing because it's live at the SEC, but you are seeing issuers update their filings. Bitwise certainly plans to be competitive in this market. I think it's a little bit what you hinted at the top of the segment, which is there has been a real sea change in Washington around crypto. We saw the first piece of comprehensive crypto or positive crypto legislation pass both houses of Congress with the SAB 121 reversal. We're seeing a coalition, a bipartisan coalition emerging around stable coins. It looks like Washington has gotten the message that crypto is good for America and that it's popular with American voters. And I think that's trickling through into different parts of policy. I don't know that that's specifically what's driven this change around Ethereum, but I think it's hard to look at what's happening in DC and not see a change taking place in multiple areas, including in the ETF market.
I'm interested, Matt, you're talking there a lot about what's going on in the nation's capital and with this upcoming election. I am curious to get your sense of how much you think crypto is going to be an issue. You can see Trump, of course, really positioning himself as a fan to the crypto faithful. I think it's fair to say GOP broadly has become kind of just more friendly, Matt, to the asset class. Do you see crypto, in fact, during this election becoming this kind of ideological dividing line?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an important factor. I know that sounds crazy to some people. How could something as relatively small as crypto influence something so massive as the US election? But remember that there are very close contests in many congressional races and indeed for the presidency. Handfuls of thousands of voters can really swing things. And there are a lot of people who deeply care about crypto. I think what you're trying to see is the Democratic Party move more towards the center on crypto, embrace it as part of America's future. And that's positive. So I do think it is a major factor. I think the other major factor is traditional Wall Street now wants to participate in the gold rush that is the crypto market. So I think you're seeing some lobbying forces from Wall Street move the political discussion, and you're seeing the growing political influence of crypto shape the nation's politics a little bit in those close markets. I think it's a game changer for the crypto industry. I think it's going to push us to all-time highs.
Matt, real quickly, who's better for the crypto industry, Biden or Trump?
Look, I think crypto can thrive in any environment. I think the worst possible outcome for crypto would be a Democratic sweep of both houses of Congress and the presidency. But absent that, a mixed market either way, I think it's going to be a good 4 years for crypto.
All right, Matt, always great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me.